Welcome back to Tailgate Talk with the boys. Graham fights off upset-minded Gate City. Union overcomes a gritty and determined Tazewell team. Rocco had a big second quarter and knocks off the Titans for the second time this year. Boys, let's get into it. Guys, we got a special guest with us today. We have Union Bears head coach, Mr. Travis Turner. And, Coach, welcome to the Tailgate Talk podcast. It's an honor to have you on this week.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me.
What we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get into some of this college stuff right here. And up first, we have Rutgers. They was 6, and Penn State was 7. Sean, you got anything on that, buddy?
Penn State, their offense is beautiful. Good thing they play killer defense, man. They'd be in trouble all the time.
But I feel like this time they were pretty balanced on offense compared to what they have been. I mean, it may have been because who they were playing, but I just felt like their effort on offense and both of them together, the defense and the offense, it helped them earn that 27-6 win. They improved to 9-2. So all their touchdowns came on the ground too, didn't it? So they're moving on up. Kermit, you got anything on that, buddy?
Just what we expected, I think, out of Penn State. Some great defense, but like you said, they probably played a little bit better offense, because of who they was playing.
Coach, you watch this one?
No, Saturday I didn't get a chance to watch a whole lot of college football.
You was a little busy, wasn't you?
I was a little busy, yeah. A little busy on Saturday, but.
Yeah, man. UNC 20, Clemson 31. Well, on this one here, I feel like the Tar Heels was eliminated before the game even started from the ACC title game contention. Louisville beating Miami on the road, but it ended up not mattering either way because North Carolina just couldn't take care of business. Losing to Clemson. UNC doomed. I think they doomed themselves with self-inflicted errors in this game. They had 2 lost fumbles inside the 5 going in on this game, and you just really can't make mistakes like that, period. But especially when you're on the road against a team like Clemson.
I thought the running backs made a big difference in this game. Clemson, their 2 backs combined for like 41 carries and almost 250 yards or something like that. They ran the ball really well, so I thought that was a big difference maker this week.
Yeah, man.
Did you bring my crow sauce for this one? I should have bought in on that cheap stock market.
Well, after looking at all the picks and what you missed last week, I thought I'm gonna have to get a bigger truck to haul that crow sauce in, man.
I hear you.
There's a lot now.
Should have bought in on the cheap stock market.
Lord, yeah. Kansas State 31, Kansas 27. This right here was it was a very exciting competitive game. And I really feel like Kansas was probably better than Kansas State was in this game, but, they just made a couple mistakes that cost them the game, cost them the scoreboard. But I think everywhere else, they probably won this game, You got
I ain't got nothing.
Anybody got anything else on that one?
I just thought this was one of them games you could have flipped that coin on.
Absolutely. I think it's out there in that end of the world. You can do that about any game, really. Baylor 17, TCU 42. It's pretty self-explanatory in that one right there. I mean, I really ain't got nothing on it other than that's kind of what I figured was going to happen.
I thought TCU's quarterback went crazy. He threw for like 412. But I thought that might be a closer game. Neither one of them really showed nothing much this year. I think Baylor's 3-6 and TCU's like 4-5 or something. I
thought TCU played Texas pretty tough the week before, and I thought they'd put it on Baylor pretty good there, and they really turned it on.
Yeah. Gary went with the Bears on this, and remember that? Yeah.
Went with the Bears.
Yeah. And he done it for strength of schedule.
It was just the wrong Bears.
Yeah, he should have went. Yeah. Yeah, Utah 18, Arizona 42. Man, Arizona's a pretty daggone good football team, boys.
Yeah.
They really are.
I ain't got nothing on this one either.
Kermit, did you watch that one?
They-
Anything on it?
Arizona, they lost a few tough ones at the beginning of the season, but I mean they ain't lose by much. And Arizona's a really good football team. They're decent. I didn't think they'd beat Utah like that though.
Yeah. UCLA, USC, mister. You ready for this sauce now? Huh? What'd I tell you?
Hey, man.
7-5 with the best quarterback arguably in college football is going to happen. Well, let me read this right here to you, or just say this to you. UCLA ran all over USC. And the Trojans, they look done. They sure do.
That's what I was going to say. The Harden kid from UCLA, 22 carries, 142 yards. I mean, he just pounded the ball. And Caleb Williams, I mean, I didn't think he really played terribly. I mean, he had almost 400 passing yards, but I don't know, boys. I'd take Penix in the toss-up, I think Penix is the guy.
Yeah.
I'm tired of all the Penix slander. Everybody wants to talk about Caleb Williams. Nobody talking about my boy Michael Penix. So that's what I got to say.
Well, I'll just be honest with you. Penix didn't play the best in the world.
Sure
this week.
did, no,
But I mean, and you being an LSU fan,
I'm
your
getting
guy's
there. I'm
going to
getting there.
your
Don't
guy's
worry.
going to win this Heisman Trophy.
I'm getting there. Don't worry.
Duke 27, Virginia 30. I'm the only one that went with the Cavs on this one.
I ain't got nothing to say.
Well, Virginia right now, I think they're playing tough football. They're hard. They're playing hard and gritty. And I mean, I know this season's probably done for them, but I mean it shows what's to come. And I think if you're a Cavalier fan, you have to be excited for what 2024 holds.
Yeah, and I've compared Virginia to Eastside this year. They both been in every game they played in, and it's just can't hardly find that win, And they finally pulled it off here in a close one, but now they've been in every game they've been in, just about it. And I worry about Virginia Tech because they've got to play them next.
Well, after this next game, I'd be worried about them too. NC State 35, Virginia Tech 28. North Carolina State actually has a chance at 9-3. At a 9-3 season. I mean, if they knock off North Carolina this coming week, so I mean, I'll let you and Gary kind of hook me in on pick and tech on that one. But I really felt like North Carolina was going to win, and I'll be honest with you, it was a lot closer ball game than I figured it was going to be honest.
Well, no.
And I mean, that's hats off to Tech. I mean, they're getting better too.
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
getting way better.
They're improving a lot on offense, and I think that helps their defense out a lot too. And but NC State, I mean, they've beat some pretty good teams this year. They beat Clemson, and they're a really good ball club. And the reason I took Tech was because it was at home, and Tech plays a lot better at home.
Now Virginia Tech's got two Graham boys starting for them.
Yeah, one of them actually got a long touchdown. Yeah,
Bradshaw.
Yeah, he sure did.
We played against him 3 years.
Yeah.
He's legit now.
Yeah, man. I think this was the first one that he actually got cut loose on, and I mean, he took it to the house. He's tough, ain't he?
Yeah, he's a real deal.
Tough. Georgia 38, Tennessee 10. I feel like when you talk about Georgia, you sound like a broken record in a way. I mean, it's like it's really hard not to, though. I mean, most of the teams Georgia play, and it's that way it's been this way for a couple of years. it's pretty much cut and dry and same old thing. They're just dominant.
I think the only one that's really give them a ball game was what Auburn at Auburn.
Yeah, I mean, most of the teams they play, they get like half a quarter.
Yeah.
You know, you better be doing something in that half a quarter. Then Georgia figures you out, and then it's on. You know, Georgia, I mean, they drained the life out of Tennessee by dominating the time of possession in this game, I think.
Carson Beck had a huge game. He spread the ball around a lot. I thought, you know, Brock Bowers had a touchdown this week. 2 receivers had a touchdown this week. I thought Brock Bowers, you know, he'd been out a few weeks. I thought, you know, he made a bigger impact this week. He had 7 catches for 60 yards and a touchdown. And that kid's a stud. He's huge. You can't guard him with a linebacker, and DBs are way too small for him. You know, he's a heck of a player.
They got all kinds of receivers who can bring it down.
Mm-hmm.
They can be a highlight reel in one game a lot of times.
Yeah, Tennessee's hurting too. They got some, you know, injury guys that really set them back a lot. So, but I mean, I think even with them, it's not going to be much different than this because right now Georgia's playing some ball. I'll be honest with you. They clinched now, so I'm really looking forward to this Georgia-Alabama SEC game, championship game. And I really wouldn't be surprised if Alabama is not the one that ends up getting in and making a run at this national championship. I mean, it's what they do every year, you know. And if you'll notice, the ones that they've actually won the championships on, it's not been the ones that they've had like their dominant players on. It's been the ones that Nick Saban has actually had to really coach, and that's what he's had to do in this team here. And I mean, I think he's coached hard this year. He's had to, and I mean, he's got them rolling, man.
It's a scary time for Georgia to see Alabama start rolling.
Yep. Washington. Well, here's the thing too. I think they're really rolling at the right time, and that's what's important. Washington 22, Oregon State 20. Washington hangs on in a monsoon. It was not pretty offensive showing by either team, to be honest with you, but Washington finds a way to win once again. Their defense always finds a way to get off the field when it matters the most. I mean, they going to give up points, but it seems like when it really matters the most, they find a way to make the play and get off the field. And it was 22 to like 7, I believe, or 6, or something like that. I mean, Oregon State really did come back and about beat them here. Anybody got anything on that one?
Just Washington's been playing a lot of close ones here lately.
I mean, they had man, it's the Pac-12, and I mean, that's what you get there. And I think what's going to be tough is for the ones that gets into this, you know, playoff up there. Once they start playing teams with defense, they're usually one and done in it. So, you know, it's kind of bad, ain't it? But I'd like to see them really do some good because I'm like Sean. I really am I'm a big Penix fan. I love to watch him spin that ball, hit that kick him flat,
he's special.
throw the ball.
He really is special.
And it's like even when he's struggling, he. You know, it's just like, just wait a minute, because when it really counts, he's going to make it. It's like a whole different player at that point. All right, college pick'ems.
I do want to say, one more thing. I just want to talk about Jaden Daniels. That dude is 8 touchdowns this week, 6 passing, 2 rushing. Last week he's the first player in FBS history to pass for 350 and rush for 200 in a game. That dude's crazy, you know. Almost 4,000 passing yards, 36 touchdowns, and 4 interceptions on the year. If LSU had a defense, y'all better watch out.
I'd say he's already practicing his stance.
Probably is. I would be.
I would already be writing my acceptance speech.
I just wish LSU had some kind of defense this year. You know, that kid's a senior and he's balled out, man. But
he's great.
It's tough being an LSU fan sometimes. They got A&M coming up this week. And A&M always plays them tough. You know, I remember the game 4 or 5 years ago with, went to 4 overtimes and they're, 74-72 final score. So we'll see what happens, boys.
Yeah, man. All right, I want to get into this college pick'ems here, and We got up first. This is all your rival games this week, but this was a fun weekend to be watching some college football for the ones that ain't going to be at the high school games. Mississippi State up first. Kermit, let's go with you first because I ain't going to let you copy nobody.
Oh, man. Mississippi State. I know you like it, Mississippi, Coach. But even if you like them, I still got to go with Mississippi.
You sure you're not a Tennessee fan?
You know better than that.
So which Mississippi? You're going Ole Miss or Mississippi State?
I'm going Ole Miss.
So you're going Lane Kiffin?
Yeah.
What? Sean?
I got Ole Miss too. Sure do.
How about you, Coach?
I believe I'll go with Lane Kiffin too, and Ole Miss. I was in Knoxville when he was assistant coach at Alabama. His first time back to Tennessee. That was interesting. The Tennessee fan base giving him a hard time.
Oh yeah, I love it.
I think that Dart kid's really, really good too from Ole Miss.
But it's like Keith said there a few podcasts ago. Like, if you're a Tennessee fan, you'd say like 4 or 5 years ago that you wouldn't took him back. You're pretty much lying because when they were in their struggling times, they would have definitely took him back.
But now you act like I got something against Lane. I loved Lane's last game at Virginia Tech and Tennessee. I thought he'd done a fine job.
I did too. I didn't want to waste my time going to Atlanta to see anything different. But all right, TCU. Oh, I got Ole Miss, by the way.
Yeah, okay.
TCU, Oklahoma.
I got the Sooners, baby.
You waiting on me?
Yeah.
Well, yes.
I'll go Sooners too.
What?
He just copied me.
I can't believe that, Coach.
I believe I'll go with Oklahoma.
Boys, I'm gonna ride the Horned Frogs in this one.
I did get to watch TCU against Colorado that opening weekend for college football. They looked a little rough against Colorado.
Yeah, I mean, at times they do, but I mean, here's my thing: Oklahoma is a up and down team too. You never know which one's going to show up, and they've actually played decent for the past couple of weeks. So it's probably time for a letdown for them. So I'm gonna take the Horned Frogs just to be different here. You can bring in my crow sauce next week. All right, Texas Tech, Texas.
I got Texas. Y'all know I love Quinn Ewers. I've talked about him a lot this year, and I think he'll get the job done.
Man, when this Texas team, when they were playing all cylinders, I still think they look like one of the best in the nation. I'm going Texas.
I like Texas too. I like Texas in this matchup.
I like them too. I'm still waiting on that 60-minute game. They've played it one time this year, and that was against Alabama. Other than that, they've not had that. I mean, it's tough to be a Texas fan.
Yeah.
It's probably more tough to be a Texas fan than an LSU fan.
I don't know, buddy. It's pretty tough.
Penn State, Michigan State. Sean, who you got?
Give me that Penn State, baby. Give me that defense.
Two defensive schools, but it's going to come down to who can score some points, and I'm going to go with Penn State in this one.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Penn State gets it done. Michigan State's struggling.
Yeah, they've had a pretty tough year. I'm going with the Nittany Lions in this one myself. This one right here I like. Oregon State and Oregon. I'll go first in this one. I'm riding Nick's son and the Ducks all the way to the end of this one right here. I'm going Oregon.
Give me Oregon. Give me Oregon big. I like Oregon big this week.
I've loved Oregon all year long, and I still think if they had that game back with Washington, I'd still take Oregon again. I'm going Oregon.
No, I agree with you. Oregon. Nix is playing lights out.
It helps that he's like 32 years old too. You know, he's been playing college football since I was in 10th grade.
Is it really a help? Or, I mean, he's having to run 18, 19, or 19, 20-year-old kids.
I watched 15 minutes of their highlights today in just one game, man, and they was crazy. they was lighting them up. That running back come out of the backfield, caught a pass. He done a stutter step and then a spin move and planted the dude right in the ground. He made it through 2 or 3 guys and scored a touchdown. They look good.
Yeah, man, I love it. Yeah. You sure you wasn't talking about Union?
No, I wasn't talking about Keith Chandler or Paul Hood.
Colorado, Utah.
I'm gonna go with Dion and the boys just to be different.
Oh,
Son. Dion and the boys.
That's a bold
I don't
pick
know.
right there.
I've just been feeling it this week for some reason.
A bold pick. Now, that is bold, man.
We'll go with Dion and the boys one time. You know, I was on the hype train earlier this year. I don't know. I just love Dion, man. I just want to pick him again.
I got Utah on this one.
I'm wisened up, didn't you?
I ain't never been on that Dion bandwagon.
I like Utah also. The Utah's solid, man. They're solid across the board.
Yeah, they are. I'm going with the Utah myself.
I can't wait till Colorado beats them. I'm the only one that picked her up. Well,
I think this next game right here is an interesting game, guys. North Carolina and NC State.
I got UNC. And
Explain.
I want to say I want to take them big, but I don't think I want them big. I just think UNC's a well-rounded team. You know, I think Drake May. You know, when he's on, I think he's an awesome quarterback. And if they run the ball like they did last week, I think
You
NC
mean
State.
by fumbling the ball?
I mean, they ran the ball well, and until
And
they
fumbled.
I know, but I mean, I'm just saying.
You got to hang on to the football, boys.
I still think UNC.
I think, North Carolina's got one of the best coaches in the league. But I'm going to go with the Wolf Pack in this one.
What?
Woo!
All right, Coach, who you got?
I tell you, this is a tough one. Both teams are pretty good. Quarterback plays big, and I like North Carolina. I think the Tar Heels.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go with the Tar Heels myself. In this one, I mean, I think them boys, time they get done running them sprints this week, they're not going to want to drop that ball again, and they're going to hang on to it. So I'm going with the Tar Heels. Arizona State.
I got Arizona by a bunch.
Hands down, Arizona right here, baby.
Absolutely. Arizona.
Yeah, Arizona big.
Real big.
Big, Arizona big.
All right.
Big.
Kentucky, Louisville. This one's an interesting game right here as well. Kermit, let's go with you, buddy.
I'm going Louisville. Louisville's really impressed me. I got to go Louisville in this game. Kentucky ain't done nothing since Florida.
So you're saying they wasted it all in that Florida game?
Absolutely.
And the tank is empty.
It's gone.
The tank is empty. And it's got a hole in it.
Yep.
They can't fill it back up or nothing.
No way.
Coach, you want to go last?
Yeah.
I'm still thinking.
Classic SEC ACC game. Tell you, it's hard to pick against Kentucky, man. They played solid. Big, like you said, a big win against Florida, but they ain't done a whole lot since. Louisville's beat Notre Dame. Louisville,
And that one was pretty
significant.
significant.
Yeah, I believe I'll go with Louisville.
You went Kentucky, Sean?
I'm going with Wildcats. I sure am. That's I hadn't picked yet, but I am going with Kentucky Wildcats. I sure am.
Man, I think I really feel like Louisville's playing some really good football right now, and I believe I'm going to go with Louisville in this one myself. They're playing really good football, and the thing of it is they play when comes down to it. I mean, they play up to their competition, and they live for big games like this, I think. So I'm going Louisville. All right, this one right here, Kermit, is for you, buddy. Virginia Tech.
Virginia Tech's got to have this one. They've got to have
To
this
become
one.
bowl eligible, yes.
Well,
And they probably missed their opportunity last week.
This is a big recruiting battle right here. They need to pull this one off. They got to have this one. I'm going Tech.
What a surprise. All that talking just to do that. We knew what he's going to do.
Yeah.
Well, I got bad news for Kermit. I'm going with them Virginia Cavaliers, baby. That's what I got.
I'm going with the Cavaliers too. I just feel like they're just playing with a lot of passion. They're greedy, and I mean, boys, you get a team that's playing with a lot of passion, they're tough to beat. I'm going with the Cavaliers, and I'm a Tech fan too myself, so I'm going with the Cavaliers. I'm just saying, I want Tech to win this game, and I hope they do win this game. But I mean, I just think Virginia's going to win the game, though. I don't think Tech has anything for them.
Tell you, it's a in-state rival game, man. It could go either way. It could be a toss-up.
Yep.
But I think at the end, I think the Hokies are going to win. I think the Virginia Tech's going to take it.
Oh, son. Oh,
The Hokies.
I was expecting something different. Are you a Hokies fan, bro?
I root for the Hokies. I do.
Yeah. All right, guys, we got a new segment coming up this week, and it is called The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. And Kermit has got some. You got the good, buddy. Let's go with
I
it.
started off with the good, but I don't think you can call it that. I think you ought to call it tremendous. You know, you got probably one of the number one quarterbacks in the state of Virginia driving down the field on you, 12-6 ball game. Your defense is getting tired. They're moving the ball. They could take the lead. Cam Bossett comes up with one of the biggest plays in probably his high school career so far. Interception on the 1-yard line. Union turns around and drives 99 yards that put the end to that game. That's my great.
Awesome. Well, I got the bad, and I got Alabama quarterback drops the ball before crossing the plane. The backup quarterback, Ty Simpson, drops the ball before crossing the goal line on a 79-yard touchdown run. And this would have been the longest touchdown run from scrimmage this season for Alabama. I mean, it's pretty embarrassing, you know what I'm saying? Nick Saban wouldn't even look at the kid on the sidelines. And, I mean, I'm just going to say this for the kids that's listening out there. Let this be a lesson for you. Just score and give the referee the ball, and just that way you know, and it'll never happen to you, you know. And then that way, if you want to be plastered on ESPN, go ahead and drop the ball early. Yeah. But that's me. Then Sean, you up with the ugly?
Yeah, I got the ugly. Jordan Travis breaks his ankle or his leg. I can't remember, what they said it actually happened. But, man, that kid's so special for Florida State, and he's their motor. And, man, it's a terrible loss. I have one more thing for the ugly. This week, Pitt plays Boston College. They throw a deep ball toward this safety, man. And, I know football's a contact sport, it's tough, but, man, this kid, torpedo dive, no arms, hits this dude right in the side of the head. Bad look for that kid, man. Bad look for Boston College. But I know targeting's part of the game, but shoot, golly, that's a bad one.
All right, there we have the good, the bad, and the ugly. And now it's time to get into the interview with Coach Turner here. Coach, again, we appreciate you joining us, and you guys have had a great season so far. Let's talk about your team and how you guys have improved from last season to this season. It's been not that you was bad last year, but, I mean, y'all really stepped it up and turned it on this year. And, what do you feel has been the difference between last season and coming into this season?
I appreciate you guys having me, being able to do this. Last year, our guys, we played a lot of young kids. I think we started at a lot of times last year, we started 6, 7 freshmen. And that's tough. At the varsity level, that's tough. And those kids, they played well last year as freshmen. We were 7-3, made it to the playoffs, and it was a good year for us. We had 3 tough losses to 3, quality football teams. I think we lost 17-8 to Graham in the regular season. We lost to Gate City, a really good. I think Gate City was 8-2 last year. Good Gate City team in the regular season. We were up 14-0 in that game in the regular season, and I think Gate City come back and beat us 24, 21, something like that. I can't remember the score. And then we lost to a really good Ridgeview team last year that was 9-1, won the district championship. So those three losses that we had that were to really good football teams.
Really good football teams, yeah.
Yeah, the Beavers kid from Ridgeview last year was good, and Cannon Hill. They had some studs on that team that played, and then Ridgeview played for the regional championship last year. So our kids competed. That's one thing I liked last year. They were young, and they competed, and they played hard, and it went through some growing pains. We went through a lot of adversity last year, and I think that's really helped us this year coming in, getting off to a good start. And those guys have been through those wars and those battles, and been through the ups and downs, I guess you'd say, and really have really developed quickly as sophomores this year.
Yeah. Well, you open up the season at Lee, and you guys come out on fire, and you haven't really had any hiccups except for the Science Hill game. How do you feel your schedule has benefited you to this point?
I think our schedule has definitely helped us. We've played a very tough schedule. The Mountain 7 district, very tough, top to bottom. Starting like you said, starting off with Lehigh with the district game, had a really good game. I think we played the first half because the game was canceled because of the lightning. We was up 35-0 at halftime. Got off to a great start that week 1, and that kind of got us rolling, going in the right direction. And our kids have played well all year. Besides the Science Hill game, Science Hill was a different animal when they come to Bullitt Park, and our kids got a little taste of 6A football and their depth. Science Hill's depth really played a big part in that game, and their speed and athletic ability.
Yeah, they were pretty tough. Now that's for sure. Well, how do you feel the Science Hill game benefited you guys the most? And y'all played it tough. And honest to gosh, you really had a shot there.
We had a shot.
You really had a shot in this game.
Yeah, I think it was 14-7. Was it 14-7 going into the fourth quarter? Maybe
14 or 13.
13-7. We were down 13-7 going into the fourth quarter, and had an opportunity. Science Hill, they were driving the football. We caused a fumble, and we had a chance to get that fumble. Didn't get it. They got it. They ended up going down scoring, going up 20-7, and our kids responded, and we played hard, and that was a quality opponent. That was probably the best football team that's come to Bullitt Park probably since Appomattox. When in the state semifinal game when we had James Mitchell and those guys, and Appomattox, they had 3 or 4 kids go play Division I football off that team. Science Hill's offense and defensive line were pretty good. They were impressive up front, which they 2-platooned a lot. Had rotated their defensive line rotation. They were 7 or 8 deep in defensive line, so they were keeping bodies fresh. And when that second half rolled around, they were still fresh. And
makes a difference.
Makes a big difference,
especially when they're big like that and they're just laying on you the whole game.
Yep.
Well, let's talk a little bit about your the offensive side of the ball. You got Rayshawn Anderson as your quarterback. Tell us about him and his work ethic and how he has grown as a starter.
Yeah, Rayshawn started for us as a sophomore at wide receiver. Got to play a lot as a sophomore. Did a lot of good things for us at wide receiver, and we made the move to he was a JV quarterback his freshman year, and when Bradley Bunch graduated, we moved Rayshawn to quarterback, and last year his junior year was the first year starting at quarterback, and he did a really good job last year directing the offense and becoming having that more of a leadership role. And it took him a little bit to become more efficient as a passer, and you can tell this year he's drastically changed from last year to this year. Last year it was make one read, pull it down, run it, use his athletic ability. Now he's getting to that second and third option and being able to dump the football off or get that pre-snap read and being able to he's seeing things better. I think his maturity and the game slowing down for him. I think that's a big thing.
Yeah, absolutely.
The question I had was, Keith Chandler. Like I watched this kid play, and I've said it on the podcast probably every week we've had it. If you need 5 yards, I wouldn't pick nobody in the state over Keith Chandler. I mean, that kid runs the ball like a tank, and I just, he has such an impact on the game. How big of an impact do you think he is to your football team?
Keith Chandler's a big impact. Keith's a good old country boy, man. He's going to go deer hunting on the weekends, and he's him and his dad, man. His dad was an excellent football player at Powell Valley back in the early '90s. So Keith does a really good job, not only on offense but defense. He's a really good linebacker,
absolutely.
And he tackles well in space, and he can see things and react and get to it. And on offense, like you said, on the offense side of the ball, he's a hard-nosed kid. Likes to run in between the tackles, and he's tough. And we're glad to have him for a couple more years.
I think, like when I watched the Ridgeview game, you have to commit so much to Keith Chandler. I don't know I can't remember that kid's name, the number 5, though.
William Lowry.
He had a big
pocket.
night against Ridgeview, and I felt like it was, you've gotten this 2-back set, and, they have to commit so much to Keith because he will just burn you up. And this other kid, I thought he had such a big impact on that game. And, he didn't really get the ball a whole lot. The other guy was running the football, but, just his impact of being in there and them thinking about him is such a huge deal.
Yeah, Keith draws a lot of attention.
Absolutely.
And he should. I mean, he should. He's that type of player. But, like you said, you mentioned Poppy Lowry. Poppy has done an excellent job for us this year. He coming in he had a big run Saturday against Tazewell.
I thought he was going to go.
He was going. Yeah,
That was his first carry of that game too, wasn't it?
Yeah. And one thing that Poppy, he takes a lot of pride in blocking. If you notice, Keith makes a lot of his runs off his blocks, and Keyshawn Anderson and that offensive line and those tight ends. So it kind of goes together. It all works together. I know Keith gets a lot of credit for the yards, but he's not getting those yards without his guys blocking for him. And the big one is Keyshawn Anderson and Poppy Lowry. I mean, both of those guys are very important to our offense.
Yeah. Well, speaking of these young players, you got Cam Bostic. He's a sophomore too, correct?
Yes.
And then Paul Huff, which is another one of the sophomores, and both of them guys has been making a lot of good plays and stuff for you.
Yeah, Braxton Bunch. Braxton Bunch is another sophomore.
Tell us a little about them, and if there's any other on the offense that you'd like to talk about, that's made a big impact.
Yeah, you're starting off with a guy like Paul Huff, who's a playmaker, but does a really good job catching the football. We use him in the run game a little bit. He's a playmaker that's plays a lot of effort. Does a really good job. It seems like in a crucial situation, he kind of finds a way to make that play to get that first down or get an interception or a good punt return. I had a great punt return against Gate City to kind of get us going right off the bat on that first drive. And he's got that knack, that playmaking ability to do that. And Cam Bostic's the same way. Had a huge play against Ridgeview. The first play of offense we had it, and he takes a little screen pass and goes about 82 yards for a touchdown. Cam, both of those guys are playing both ways, and really good offensive players and good defensive players, real good defensive backs. Now, we mentioned Cam's big interception Saturday right there on the 1-yard line, and the other kid, the other sophomore, the wide receiver DB, Braxton Bunch, who also had an interception against Tazewell, and Braxton's a special player, man. Both of his older brothers have played here for me, Brandon Bunch and Bradley Bunch. Both of them very athletic, big kids, and Braxton's going to grow. He's getting bigger every day, And there's some special things in the future for him and for all three of those guys that are sophomores. Got a chance to do some really good things that for these next 2 years. And those three guys are also multiple sport athletes. Braxton's a really good basketball player, shoot the lights out of it. Good baseball player. Cam Bostic's basketball player, runs track. Paul Huff plays basketball, and he ran track last year. So we're very fortunate to have those guys around.
Yeah, man. On your line, how you got a lot of juniors and seniors on your line, or
we got one senior, Brent Lovell, on the offensive line. Brent's done a really good job for us. We start 2 sophomores in the offensive line. Jacob Horton and Braden Chandler. Both those guys have had really good years for us as sophomores, and are tough kids that work hard, and we're fortunate to have those guys around for two more years. And our center, Logan Moore, is a junior who's had a great year for us. Moved him to center. This is the first year he's played center. Our left tackle, A.J. Johnson's a junior who's had a tremendous year for us, who's been playing hurt just about the majority of the year, been banged up quite a bit, and he's fought through that, and he's just a tough kid. We're fortunate in our offensive line. We got some tough guys. And the toughest one, and one of our tougher ones, is Brent Lovell. He plays on both sides of the ball, don't come off the field. And he's wreaked havoc for that defensive line this year.
Oh, yeah, we're gonna get into the defense.
Man. And he's played well. The other kid that comes in for us, Chris May, comes in and plays some guards for us. And he's another sophomore, big kid. And I'm really excited about him in the future. And he's going to develop, and he's going to be a good one for us. And we're pretty good offensive line wise. We got all those guys coming back next year, so we're really excited about the offense next year.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that defense, you guys have been very impressive on defense this year. I mean, even looking back, I know Science Hill put some points up on you, but they had athletes everywhere, and you guys really, I think, held them in pretty good check there. And then, y'all, how many shutouts have you guys had this year?
I don't think about that. We've had 3 or 4, haven't we? Maybe 4.
I think maybe 4.
4. Then we've held Virginia High to 1 touchdown. Tazewell scored 1. Tazewell's very explosive. They were averaging around 40 points a game, and being able to hold those guys to 6 points was big.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was very impressed in that game how y'all done a great job keeping everything in front of you and stuff, and that's very big when you're playing Tazewell and stuff, somebody like that. Yeah. But tell us about your defense, about your some of your key stat leaders on the defensive side of the ball.
Yeah, well, starting with defensive line, you've got guys like Brent Lovell, then you got Braden Mosier, 2 seniors for us that's played really well, that play the run great and do a real good job on their pass rush and getting pressure on the quarterback. Saturday I think we had maybe 6 sacks on the day. Our other D tackle, Colton Brown, has come into it. He's another senior that's on the defensive line that's played well on the inside, quick. Our other defensive end, Carlos Anderson, who's the brother of Rayshawn and Keyshawn. The younger brother is a sophomore that's starting the defensive end. That's a super athletic kid, man. The sky's the limit with him.
He's kid too.
Big kid. He's got a chance. If he gets serious and dedicates himself, he's got a chance to be really good. And he's got to get in the weight room, get strong. Which a lot of sophomores got to get in the weight room. Yeah. And we're expecting big things out of him coming in these next 2 years at defensive end, tight end.
I think when I was watching Carlos, I think his breakout game, was Graham. That he really blowed me away, how great he played in the Graham game. Him and Brent stayed in the backfield all day long. I thought he had a safety down there. He had his fingertips on the quarterback, and I was like, I think he had 2 sacks and would have been a third one for a safety down there in the end zone. Man, that kid's he played well in that Tazewell game too.
Yeah. He's like I said, he's got some athletic ability. He's got a chance to really develop his body and and kind of harness that, and kind of sky's the limit with him. You know, he's like I said, he's going to be a big kid. He's going to be 6'2", 6'3" type kid that can run and move, and
that's what colleges are looking for.
They like that length. They want that length.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it just kind of hurts me being a Gate City guy hearing you say sophomore, you know, which, I mean, we got several young ones too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
Gate City's going to be right there too now.
This sophomore and freshman stuff. Are you sure all these are still sophomores?
If we can find a way to give them another year or two, we'll do that too.
I hear that, buddy. I hear that. Well, let's talk about this Tazewell game a little bit. I mean, how do you think your line play did, considering the size Tazewell had? I mean,
they were very impressed with Tazewell's their strength and size up front, but their offensive and defensive line. They're just big kids. That's number 77. I can't remember his name. You know, he's 6'3", 6'4", 305 pounds, playing D tackle, played offensive guard, I believe, and man, those guys. Number 52, another kid that came in there and played well, and our offensive line did a really good job. You know, I know we mentioned that 99-yard drive. That was a classic drive for us, and you know, we moved the football up and down the field. You know, had a chance to score on the first drive, and they couldn't finish that drive. I think we got stopped on downs on the first drive, and our defense stepped up, made a big play, and got us the ball back. We was able to get the ball back on a 3-and-out, and go down and score to go up 6-0 real quick there in the first quarter, and or maybe the start of the second quarter by that time. But, defensively, you know, two guys I want to mention too, Keyshawn Anderson and Isaac Keith, our two inside linebackers, two seniors who have really played well for us. Doing a good job on their pass cover. I think Keyshawn's got 2 or 3 picks on the year at inside linebacker and 4 or 5 sacks. Isaac Keith's leading our team in tackles, number 50. He leads us in tackles, and he's got 4 or 5 sacks also. And you know, those two guys have stepped up and played well as seniors for us. And you know, like we mentioned, Keith Chandler, the other outside linebackers played well, and we've you know, according to personnel and who we're playing, we've played 3 or 4 other guys. You know, Caden Phillips has played well. Preston McCray, Bobo, has played well for us at times. Camden Morton has played well at the other outside linebacker. So we've played well defensively, and a lot of the credit goes to our defensive coaching staff. Coach Edwards has done a good job with their defense, and those guys have worked hard, and we put a lot of emphasis on defense and being able to. Defense is going to keep you in the games, and you know, we definitely got a challenge coming up this week.
Yeah, man. Well, the touchdown before halftime was huge that you guys got there. Tell us how important you feel that this score was.
Yeah, being able to get that second touchdown right before halftime to go up by 2 scores to get the momentum was big. You know, being able Cam Boston made a great read on the reversed for the throwback to the quarterback, and executed. We've worked on that for a lot, and found an opportunity to run that at the right time.
Great play call. I thought that was a great play call.
Was a great play call.
Yeah. I mean, it's the kids executed, man. That credit goes to those guys. They've worked hard, and you know, we've worked on that. They've been waiting on that. They've been asking. I said, well, let's see. We'll find the time to do it. And I said, yeah, time to do it.
Y'all ran that same play against Ridgeview, right? I thought it was, and I think Paul Huff threw the ball that time, and he barely overthrew him. And I was like, when I seen that, I was like, man, we'll be seeing that again later in the year. I know for a fact we will. And I was glad to see him execute it this week.
Yeah. Well, you're up 12-0 coming out of half, and Tazewell, of course, gets the ball to start the second half, and man, they drive on that opening possession, and they drive the ball down and score to make it 12-6.
Yeah.
At that point, did you see any changes
Yeah.
in your kids?
Well, you know, Tazewell did a good job offensively, kind of changing a little bit what they did. Their quarterback started dumping the ball off a little bit, throwing the short routes, and we did an excellent job of taking away their two main threats. Braxton Bunch, Paul Huff, and Cam did a really good job on the outside guys, and they started working the inside and doing little sit-down routes and short slants and throwing the football to the back out of the backfield, getting him involved a little bit more. And I thought they made a good adjustments there coming out, changing it up. And then, you know, it took, you know, after that first drive of the third quarter, I thought, you know, we adjusted to what they were doing to start taking that away, and I think we shut them down the rest of the second half.
Yeah, because at first they were like I guess going a little bit deeper in that mesh there, and then they made that adjustment to come underneath.
Yeah, they started that. Yeah, they that mesh route. They starting the game off. They were a little bit deeper, about 8 to 10 yards. They started throwing that thing at 2 to 3 yards. Just dumping it off,
dumping it in the middle of the field over and over again.
Yeah, and our defensive line did a great as the game was going on, man, putting pressure on that quarterback and forcing him to get rid of that ball quick, forcing him to get rid so he couldn't get that deep threat, and that helped our defensive backs out. Those guys played really well Saturday. They played good against Virginia High too, our defensive line.
Yeah, I thought one of the biggest things, and I agree with what you said, one of the biggest things that I seen, we seen that quarterback, he threw that like fade to number 8, put the ball only where that guy could get it. Those two, you can tell they have chemistry, and I thought that y'all's defensive line, I've said it all year that I thought Union's defensive line was the best in the Mountain 7, the way that y'all just get after people. And, we can see it with people like Brent and Carlos, both of them made huge plays at the end of the game with those sacks. And I thought another key to what y'all did on defense was I seen the Bunch kid, Braxton Bunch. He was on that big number 8 over there a few times on that sideline. Never seen that kid on fades trying to throw it over top, but I thought y'all did a great job with Paul Huff, kind of rovering back and forth. Like that kid can cover so much space, and I thought the Bunch kid was beat 3 or 4 times, and that quarterback would not throw that fade because Paul Huff was getting to it. I thought y'all did a great job, though. I really do.
Yeah, Paul's got that capabilities to cover a lot of ground.
Yes, sir.
He does a really good job for us back there, being being the quarterback of the defense back there. He can get guys lined up, move them around, and kind of get a feel of the game. He really does a good job with that. And Braxton he played well. Played his tail off.
Him and Braxton's both ball happy. Which one of them's got the most interceptions, Coach?
I don't know. That's a good question.
That's close.
That's good. They're close.
Yeah. I tell you
that the other one, Cam Bosticks, is good. He had a pick against Virginia High, a pick against Tazewell, so he's right there with him too.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, like I was noticing in this game too, it shows as a young player how much confidence that you guys have in like Paul Huff, because they was several times in your coverages, you guys was pretty much leaving him on an island out there by himself, because you have, I don't know if it was the design or what, but I thought that was pretty impressive, and he done a heck of a job.
Yeah. All of our guys did a good job, man, and and a lot of it, I go back to the defensive line being able to get a little pressure on the quarterback to force him to throw when he's not ready to throw it. I think that's the key.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Well, let's talk about the play and the drive that changed this whole game for you guys. I know Kermit's already had this a little bit in his the good part here, but tell us about Cam's interception on the 1 yard line that stops them from potentially taking a 13-12 lead. And then the 99-yard drive that will be probably talked about for a long time. I know it sure put a smile on a lot of the old school Appalachia guys' faces, and not only them, but a lot of us old school, guys from the 90s and earlier. It
was old school football.
That's one of them drives that we all love to see, man. Yeah. And tell us about these two situations here.
Yeah, the pick that Cam did, he did a great job breaking on I think they were throwing a deep slant or post pattern, and he came underneath it and picked that thing, and a little dive and catch. And just great ball skills and getting his body in the right position to make that play, and to be able to. It looked like I was just watching the film. I was watching the film last night, and being able to get his body turned to pick it and being able to catch the ball and land on his back. I thought that was huge, and not have to if he got turned awkward, the ball hitting the ground and bouncing out type of thing. But he positioned it, good body control on that pick. And I tried to talk to the official. I said, "Y'all sure he wasn't in the end zone when he picked that? His momentum didn't take him into the end zone, so we can get it at the 20-yard line." But it put us on the 1 yard line, and we're excited to get the pick. And then you turn around and you're on the 1 yard line in a 12-6 ball game. You say, we're going to have to get this thing out of here and flip the field position. And our offensive line took over and started coming off the football. And like you said, it looked like the 1990s back in or late 80s. And it was exciting. And it was 3 or 4 yards of play. And then we I think Keyshawn Anderson picks up a big first down on 3rd and 8 on the toss, and being able to keep the
that quick
chains
toss.
moved.
Yeah,
Being able to pick
huge
that
play
up was
call.
huge. That was huge to get that first down, to keep the ball and again to keep their offense on the sideline.
And something that we were talking about too is what a block by Paul Huff on that pitch play too. He blocked his hind end off.
Did good. Poppy had a huge run on that drive. Had a couple of key blocks on Keith Chandler's runs on that drive, and just being able to, like I said, going 99 yards and chewing up the clock. I mean that was classic football, man.
Yeah, man. Well, congratulations on this win, Coach. I mean, it's now set up a much talked about rematch. I think this is what people's really probably saw coming from a long distance, probably since the last time you guys played Graham. And so give us your thoughts on this game. I know they're coming here this time.
Yeah.
And that makes a big difference.
That makes a big difference, being able to play at home. Which now we played pretty well in Bluefield. I will say that we've won our share of games in Bluefield, and Graham's won their share of games here at Bullet Park. They beat us last year here in the regular season last year, 17-8. Another classic game. We've played Graham in some really good games. I guess we've played now 10 times, 11 times, I guess, maybe, over the years. First few years we played them. Coach Palmer was an assistant coach the first couple of times we played them. And, ever since he's took over that program, man, he's changed that program. And, I mean, they're a powerhouse. I mean, they got some players. They're athletic. They're fast. They got 2 kids starting for Virginia Tech right now, coming from the same high school in 2A football. When's the last time you've heard of that?
Yeah.
I mean, both of them are starting right now for them and playing and doing a good job. So, give credit to Coach Palmer and those guys, man. They got a great thing going at Graham, and got athletes that can run and make plays, and that's going to be a challenge, man. They're the defending 2A state champions, and they're the state champions until somebody can beat them. So it's going to be tough.
We've got a lot of them coaches in the Cumberland district pretty scared right now. We've been telling them Graham's getting ready to drop down to single A, and they just tell us, don't even speak it into existence. Don't speak it.
Yeah.
Well, they are on the threshold of it.
They're close to it. They'd be hard. Definitely be real hard to handle in single A.
Which is very impressive that, with their numbers being so low, that they're still able to spit out all these athletes.
Yeah. I mean, the caliber, the speed. I mean, the running back they got, the Clemens kid they got now, man, he's a special player. He's one of the top recruits in the state of Virginia. I mean, as a running back, and he's going to play Division I football somewhere.
Yeah, and he's the type of kid that you can only contain him so long. I mean, he's going to get his yards.
Oh yeah,
And
I mean, it's like back the running backs back in the day. You had Thomas and Julius Jones and Travis. I played with Travis Clark, and I mean those guys don't come around too often.
No, they don't, buddy. They sure don't.
The Jay Kalswrights and the Chad Beasleys, those type of guys.
Yeah, they're special breeds, man, but it seems like Graham has them quite often.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that it don't help what's on the other side of that state line up there either. You know what I'm saying? I mean, we all know what goes on here. And it goes a little bit further than just over the state line. You get them Princeton boys coming in there too. I used to say, like, you'd go up there and they'd be so big. I was like, because we'd usually play them like twice a year,
Right.
And, back in the day. And I mean, we'd be like, I swear to God, I believe they're dressed in this Bluefield College guys. We're not even playing a high school team, man,
Yeah.
Because they were so big, man.
They brought the Job Corps in.
Yeah.
Man, they got some. They're good. I give Coach Palmer a lot of credit, man. He's really. I don't know if ever since Coach Carlock. Coach Carlock was there for years at Graham. My dad was really good friends. Coach Collarbro, Coach Carlock, Coach Robbins. Those guys were were at the same school. 30 years plus or whatever. You don't see that now.
No, you don't.
And I think Graham's got the guy. I think Coach Palmer's going to be there for a long time. He's going to be very successful at Graham. I mean, they've got some good. They got a good thing going.
Yeah, they really do. They have a real good program going on right now. Coach, is there anything that you would like to say to your fans and supporters about the game coming up?
Yeah, I mean, we're excited about it. Hosting the regional championship game at home, and we won the regional title in I think 2020. I think it was the spring of 2020. I think it was COVID year, right? I think it was the last time we won it, and come pack the park out, man. It should be exciting, and don't stay home. Don't stay home and watch on NFHS. Come on out to the park and enjoy. It's going to be good weather, I believe, and I think the weather's going to be good. So get to see some good football, and so you'll see some kids that maybe get a chance to go play some college football somewhere later on down the road. Yeah,
absolutely. You'll be watching them on Saturday at some point in time. That's for sure. Well, we'll get into this Region 2D rundown. Here we had Graham 28, Gate City 7. I was real impressed. I think Jeremy and them done a really good job taking the kids up there, knowing that, that they were a big underdog, and I think they really had them believing that they could win this ball game, and I think they had the right game plan. It's just, they got out of position on a couple of plays, man, and that was really the big difference. And then a very big turnover there that really made the difference in this game, and Graham fell on it in the end zone and made it 7-7 at halftime. But I was really impressed with Gate City and what they done in this game.
I was going to say a lot of the same thing. I thought that Gate City played well overall. Just like you said, they got out of position a couple times, and with a player as special as that Clements kid, you can't do that because, he's a one-cut back. He takes one cut, and you ain't catching him when he reverses field and gets out of there. He's tough to stop. So, but, I think Gate City has a lot to look forward to, man. They got young kids that made plays for them all year, and I think, they'll be right in the conversation next year in the Mountain 7 again.
Oh, yeah, Gate City. Another one to jump in here, Coach Housewright, good friends with his brother Jake. We grew up with Jake, and my dad and his dad, Bill Housewright Sr., went to Virginia Tech together. And, Gate City's got the right guy. After Coach Collarbro retired, Coach Housewright came in, did a really good job. I think they won a state championship with Coach Housewright.
Yep.
With Bill. And, then when he retired, they had another coaching change, and I think they've got the right guy in Jeremy Housewright, man. He's Gate City through and through, bleeding that Gate City blue, man.
Yeah, he's actually, brought back the pride and tradition that they lost with that other, during that other little coaching change that they had. But, and he's got the community fired back up, and got everybody rallying around him, and that's important.
The community support is very important, and we're proof of it. We've got a great community, man. The town of Appalachia, the town of Big Stone Cap, they've done great. We've been consolidated now 12 years, it's 12 or 13, I guess, and the support's been unreal, and that's one thing I really appreciate. The people in this community that have really bought into our not only football but all of our athletics here. We just won a regional championship in wrestling last year. Man, it's been awesome.
Yeah.
Speaking of that Gate City game, I was sitting there watching it, and I felt like if you're Gate City going in at halftime, you give Graham 7 points out there on that field. They didn't really earn it. Gate City fumbled that ball in the end zone, and kid probably could have kicked it out of the back of the end zone or something there, but he tried to hop on it, ball squirted out, and then the Graham kid just, all he got to do is lay down on the ball, give him 7 points. You're going in at halftime 7-7. If you're Gate City in that game right there, you got to be feeling like you're winning right now, even though it's a 7-7 ball game. And when they come out the second half, it seemed like Graham overloaded one side, kind of like Abingdon does, and Gate City's linebackers all shifted, and that's all it took was one hole, one run, and he'd done that twice in that game. And
he's special.
That's the difference.
That kid's a special player.
Yeah, man. All right, Union 27, Tazewell 6. We've already talked a lot about this game and everything, and I was real impressed with both teams' defensive. Both teams, I think, done a good job keeping everything in front of them. And, that's when you got a lot of athletes out there making really good plays like Union has all year, like Tazewell has. And, I think both teams pretty much kept the big play in check for, considering all the athletes that was out there to do it. I think both teams done a real good job. And I think that drive and that interception was really what swung this game, and at that point, I think Tazewell was pretty much done. That 99-yard drive just took the life out of him.
I don't want to get too emotional on this, but me and Trav, we've grown up playing on the same team from Little League all the way up to high school, and loved playing for Tom Turner, man. He just made you feel like you could run through a brick wall. And I don't know how many Viking people was out there smiling after the game, old school Vikings, old school wise people. They'd come up to me and say, man, that was an Appalachia Tom Turner drive right there. That was an Appalachia. It said Tom, Tom looking down, smiling on us that day.
Oh, I'm sure he'd been proud on that one. But
oh yeah, that was a beautiful drive.
I thought, if I could just add a couple things that we didn't talk about already, I thought that Rayshawn Anderson made some crazy throws with pressure in his face out there to Paul Huff, man.
Yeah.
And we've talked about, earlier in the year we criticized Rayshawn because, he looked like he wanted to pull the ball down and run, a lot. And man, that kid really came on and started making huge throws for y'all.
Yeah.
A couple of weeks ago we watched him throw them balls across the middle of the field where only his guys could get to him, making big-time throws. And I thought he'd done the same thing when y'all needed him this week. And like we talked about it already, those sacks, the Carlos Anderson kid made a huge play over there on y'all's sideline to get that sack when the quarterback tried to roll out of there. And, man, I just love watching y'all play football. I really do. And y'all got so many special kids, just the youth, and y'all are flying around, man. I love watching it. And y'all line up in that straight T backfield, baby, and hand that ball to Keith Chandler. Y'all are gashing them 5 and 6 at a time. And I was like, man, alive, this is going to get ugly for Tazewell. They didn't want no more of it, I didn't think.
Yeah, absolutely. Rock Cove 18, Twin Springs 7. This is in the 1D rundown. Twin Springs come out hot in this game. They went up 7-0. Rock Cove climbed back into it. It was a pretty good battle there till Twin Springs owned the first quarter, and then Rock Cove, they had a real big second quarter, and it proved to be enough to hang on to win the game. Twin Springs done a great job second half, keeping them in check. And, Keys and them, they had one of their best defensive guy. He was out. He had flu, pneumonia, and mono and stuff, and he was out. And so, I think they done a good job. They don't need to hang their heads over nothing. And we do want to congratulate Rock Cove. They're heading into a place where they've not been in several years, and the community is absolutely electric. And I think the last time Rock Cove was even in this situation was probably early 2000s. They actually played Appalachia and won the region championship.
I thought it was 2004.
It's probably around 2004. Probably. It's been about 21 years ago, and if you'll think back, Bill Housewright was the head coach of the Rock Cove War Eagles at the time, and then they came to Gate City because something went on. They wouldn't let them play that game at their home field for the state semifinal game, and they about pulled that one off there too. So, it's been 21 years since they've been in this situation, and these fans, they deserve it, man. They deserve it. Gary's went out there and done a heck of a job.
Absolutely.
And Keith's done a good job up at Twin Springs too. And we'll just congratulate to both of these teams. This was a hard fought ball game, and it's gonna be big for them. They got a big one coming up now.
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought. We love Keith and Gary. I think what they're doing in 1A football. I've talked about it a lot. I played against Twin Springs and Rock Cove my last year at Clintwood. The last year at Clintwood, and we went into that Cumberland district. And we went over to Rock Cove, and we had a shutout in almost every game, Twin Springs, Thomas Walker, Rock Cove, and, man, what they've done with those two programs. And, you look at the kids they got coming out, Keith is I mean, you know, there's not many kids go to Twin Springs, and man, what he's done with those numbers, and you know, I got a ton of respect for Keith and Gary too. I mean, Gary, you know, that run game at Rock Cove is something special, man. They pound the daggone football, and there ain't nothing you're going to do to stop it. But yeah, I do think Twin Springs done a great job in the second half of you know, holding them with what they got. And man, just congratulations to Rock Cove and Twin Springs. You know, like you said, they have nothing to hang their head about. A great season from both teams. So
I tell you, I just feel blessed that we've got to go and talk to both of these coaches. Both of them great guys. Love the Scott County Bowl. I believe it's still going on with the fans right now, ain't it?
Yeah, they're blowing up our Facebook page, and then they're bringing Gay City into this. Like, you know, I'm like, what the world?
They're part of Scott County. Might as well bring them in.
Yeah, I pulled one of the Kermit words. What the world?
What the world?
Yeah, man. Well, Honaker 44, Patrick Henry 30. Honaker was playing turnover fest in this first half, and Patrick Henry was landing on them, and they finally pulled it together and come out with this 14-point win. I mean, I think this is a game that you just hate to see in for either one of these teams, because I mean, both of them absolutely was playing some good football right here at the end of the season.
Absolutely. And I think Patrick Henry's made a huge turnaround. You know, I went to the Jamboree up here at Norton the first game of the year with, you know, Y Central and Burton, Thomas Walker, Patrick Henry. And, you know, I went up there and honestly, you know, when I looked at Patrick Henry, I was like, man, they just didn't look very good. But, man, they have came on here the last few weeks, and, you know, they're playing tough football. And when, you know, obviously I was at the Union game, so I didn't get to watch this game, you know, but I went back and watched some of it, you know, on the FHS and stuff. And I agree with you. You know, Honaker kept turning that ball over, and I was like, man, Patrick Henry, a team you want to do this with, you know. I know the hurt of losing to Patrick Henry, you know. That was my last game ever in the first round of the playoffs at Old Clintwood. But, man, just great season by both teams. And, man, them Honaker Tigers are something special this year. They really are.
Yeah, it was an air attack and run attack, totally different styles.
I also seen, just a side note, the Honaker quarterback broke the 3,000 passing yard mark, you know, in that game.
Another great quarterback.
Man alive. Yeah. You know, you talk about a season out of that kid, 3,000 passing yards.
I watched him in some 7-on-7 tournaments this summer, man. He can spin it now.
He sure can.
That's what Coach Rhodes said they come up there and said it was awesome watching them spin the ball. And I was watching this game, and you know, Patrick Henry could have went into halftime at 22-8. They ain't but daggone about 20-some seconds left.
Yeah, it was a lot.
The Honaker kid throws 2 bombs right down the middle of the field. They score with 9 seconds left on the clock. That's quick.
That's their style, though, man. That's their style. It's score fast. I mean, in like 3 minutes' time with them, you could be down 20-some points.
I love that offense, too, that spread offense, man. They just, you know, they throw it around all the time. And, you know, when they do hand it off, their back is really good, you know, and he makes plays catching the ball in the backfield, too, man. But them Honaker Tigers are something to watch.
Yep. All right, let's go into the Region 1D championship game. We have Rye Cove at Honaker. Coach, you can pick on this if you want to. I mean, you can pick on the Graham Union game if you want to. I mean, I don't think bulletin boards going to, you know, it's no surprise. I mean, you know what I mean. Kermit, we're gonna start you, buddy, on this one right here.
Man, I like the Cumberland District, but it's like I say about the Georgia Bulldogs. I think Honaker got that number 1 for a reason. And I believe at Honaker on turf field, I believe I'd have to go Honaker in this one.
I agree with what Kurt said. You know, Honaker playing at home, that's a big deal, you know, that field. I've played on that field several times, you know, and it's just like you watch Honaker play somewhere else, they just don't seem as, you know, faster. I don't know what it is about that field, man, but they get on that field and they're something else. But I think I'm going to have to go with Honaker, too. You know, no disrespect to Rock Cove. I love Gary and I love what he's done, but I think I'm going to have to go with the Honaker Tigers in this one.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Honaker in this one too. I mean, Rocco, I don't think they've really played on this type of field, and it does speed the game up, I think. And I mean, I think it takes some of your angles. You think it's normal on regular grass, and then this. So I mean, I'm afraid they're going to get caught in some bad angles maybe. And that passing attack is just very special. And I mean, I'd like to see Rocco win this. I really would, being a Scott County boy and stuff. And I hope they do win it. But I just feel like Honaker's going to be too much for them. Coach, you going to pick on this one?
I believe I'll hold off on the picking, but I think it's two quality football teams that are both of them are well coached and two different, like you say, two different styles. You know, one's the ground and pound, the other one's the air raid offense. And I'll tell you, Honaker's quarterback, man, he can throw it. And, I've been very impressed with him. Kind of haven't really watched a whole lot of him, like actual games, but with the 7-on-7s this summer and watching the highlights on WCYB and other channels, man, he's on there quite a bit. So he's going to be hard to handle.
Now, is that his twin brother at receiver?
I don't know if they're twins or not, but they are definitely brothers.
Them two's definitely on page.
Oh, yeah.
You know, they got that brother chemistry. I'm sure they've been doing this in the backyard for a long time. And, they definitely are on the same page. All right, Region 2D championship game. Kermit, I'm going to start with you, buddy. And remember, Mama Byers listening.
Yeah, you better pick right. You better pick right.
Well, I think this week, Coach Turner, he's going to put them two fullbacks in the backfield. I hope they ground and pound Graham. And
now, Kermit, we're back to reality at this point right here.
You don't think Brad will get the ball?
No, if he picks it up off the ground, and that's all we hope for.
Hey, you never know. But I believe Union's earned their number one spot too, and I'm taking Union over Graham in a hard-fought game.
Sean?
What about? Well, I've said it. Y'all call me crazy when I said it before, but I said on the podcast, a month or so ago, I don't see the Union Bears losing the game, the rest of this year. And I meant what I said, every time I watch them, I think you guys just keep getting better and better as the season goes on. And y'all are a tough-nosed team, and that defense is gritty. And, I think it's, the Clements kid's back, and we watch him play against Gate City, and he has a good game, nothing crazy, but, we've seen what he can do in the past, and I think it's a huge deal, them coming down here to Bullitt Park, that takes a lot of pressure off y'all. That drive is miserable. I hate going up there, but, man alive, I've said it all year, and I'm going to say it again. I got the Union Bears at Bullitt Park, baby, and I'll be right there.
Yeah. Well, I hope Mama Bear don't get too upset at me here, but I will say this. I think Region D and Region C is probably where the state championship lies at. I really feel like that. Could be wrong, but Union has Graham coming into town, and then if they do get by them, more than likely they're probably going to see Radford next, and that's going to be another tough task for them to pull off what you're saying that they want to pull off. But they got to get by these G-men first, and that Clemens kid, man, he is special. He is very, very special, but I don't think he's special enough to beat them Union Bears, and I'm going with the Union Bears. And then we're going to bring on the Bobcats, and then we're going to take care of business from there on out, ain't we, Coach?
That's right. We hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you guys do win this game, is it going over to Region C to host?
Yeah, I think Region C will host. I think if Radford wins, I think they host. Yeah, they'll be hosting the semifinal game. And then I think looking at Region A and B, I think Riverheads will be the top guy coming out of there, I believe.
Yeah. And I think it was 2010 when Gate City won the last one. State championship. So, yeah. We went to Radford for state semifinals. We left Gate City in 60 degrees weather. I had shorts on, flip-flops, cut off sleeves, We get to the game there about 2 hours before the game at Radford, and it's warm. Well, about 30 minutes before the game starts, it gets cold. And by halftime, the field is white covered in snow, and I am froze to death. But, yeah, so the winner of this game will probably be at Region C. So I figured that's that because they played it at Graham last year. It flip-flops every year.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a 2-year thing.
I don't know. For some reason, I think it goes by power points. I think Radford's got the top power points, and I think they've got the top power points in the state.
How though? I mean, because
Well, they're 10. I think they're 10-0.
Yeah.
Where they're undefeated, and they've outpointed. I think they've outpointed us and Graham. Both us and Graham are 9-1.
So it's coming in on the rider points.
I think so. Yep.
I would think. Y'all playing some tough guys, man. That gave you a lot of wins to get them rider points.
Yeah, I mean, I was thinking one of the biggest wins we had was Twin Springs. Twin Springs going 9-1.
9-1.
Yeah, I mean that was a big win for us for power points and rider points, stuff like that. I mean it was big.
Yeah. Absolutely. Well, Coach, again, we appreciate you coming on and being on the podcast with us. And is there anything else you'd like to say before we cut out of here?
Yeah, I just appreciate you guys having me, man. It's been a pleasure to be on here, and I appreciate the people in the town of Big Stone Gap and Appalachia have been supporting our football program the last 12 years or so, and our coaching staff has done a really good job. I appreciate those guys helping to develop this program, and we want to continue to go in the right direction and keep developing young men and hopefully be successful in life and hopefully have a chance to come back when they have their 10-year, 20-year reunion, come back and watch a Union Bear game and talk about the old days.
Yeah, man.
Absolutely.
Anybody else got anything before we cut out of here?
Yeah.
I do. All you Union fans, get on here and listen to your head coach. And if you ain't listening to Tailgate Talk with the boys, what you doing?
They listening to the wrong talk show, ain't they, buddy?
What the world?
Anybody else got anything?
Yeah.
All hearts and minds clear?
Yeah.
All right, guys, we'll see you on the next one. Peace.